Man, so I was at the theater this weekend and it was bumping at levels I have not seen since Barbenheimer, okay?
It
I
was
went to,
lit.
it was going crazy. And so I
Yeah.
went to see The Shrouds, which that was the most awkward I've ever felt at a movie by myself. Definitely not a movie I would recommend, like purely from an optics standpoint. Like I felt like I was judging myself for going to see this without somebody. Like this felt like
Okay.
something that should have played at Cinema L'Amour here in Montreal, where people, it's like the sex theater. David Cronenberg's a weird cat, and this was a
Oh yeah.
weird movie. But I came out of that, and me and Ty went to go see The Accountant 2 after that, and we had a bit of a time to kill, and the place was buzzing. Ty was trying to get in, and he said the line down just to scan your tickets was snaked through the whole lobby. And I went up to get some hot dogs, a couple glizzies. Kevin got me onto theater glizzies.
Oh
And
yeah.
I
With this
go
one
up,
club member, that makes a lot of sense
yeah, dude,
economically.
20% off those bad
Yeah.
boys.
A $5 hot dog anywhere in the world is an okay
And
metric.
they're
It's street
huge,
meat.
dude. They're not little tiny little guys. But I order them, and like, and the girl goes, I thought she said 40 to 60 minutes. She's like, I was like, for hot dogs? And the girl behind her goes like, no, 14 to 16, which is still a
Still,
long time for a couple dogs.
like, are they waiting for the
Normally
water
they
to boil?
they normally just, here you go. There's two dogs for you right there, bro. Like they just
Yeah.
hand them off to you because they've been
It was quick when we got them the other
yeah.
time. It was like
So
they
like
slung it. It was like out of a pouch. They're like, "Here's your
literally.
dog." Yeah.
And so like, but that's just a testament to this place was bumping. And the guy I was talking about last week, when the dude came up to us with some weird like, don't spoil things in the theater bit. I was like, we were just all, there was like a ton of people waiting. And this poor guy was like probably 10 minutes late to his movie. But to his, like, to be fair, he got like a pizza, fries, a chicken sandwich. Like he got like every
Yeah.
object on the menu, it felt like. But it made me want to talk about and do a little bit of a conversation about theaters and movies and this whole kind of thing, because we
100%.
talk about it almost like anecdotally in every episode. But we're recording this on a Sunday. It is the week 2 of Sinners release, and
Yeah.
it's gonna be, we won't have the final numbers just yet, but it is like one of the craziest box office weekends in certainly since COVID.
Yep.
And probably before that. I'm really excited to see how it all shakes out. Shout out, I'll just plug his channel. I watch Dan Merle on YouTube all the time, and he does a weekly show breaking down box office numbers, comparing them to things. It's a great, if you're as nerdy about this as I am, definitely follow him. It's an easy watch, and it's super interesting to see how that goes. But like Sinners, for example, right now is coming off of, it might hold.
Yeah.
And for anyone, what that means is opening weekends, especially in this day and age, are usually your big box office time. The movie just came out, so lots of people go, and then usually there's a drop off. Marvel movies, for example, are known for having like historically large drop offs because so many people flood the theater in that opening weekend. It's not like typically they're around 60%, so they make 60% of the money or less money than they did the weekend before. And Sinners is either on track right now. The numbers yesterday was 10% drop. Now it's a 6% drop. Are the estimates. So it could hold. It could make as much money this weekend as its opening weekend. Then Revenge of the Sith is getting re-released this weekend, and it is on track to about make $25 million. Minecraft is out still. It is on track to make around $20 million. The Accountant 2 is on track to be in that 25 million
They
ballpark.
Count Two had a $9 million opening day, which is
Yeah.
actually like a pretty high number. And I want to say I contributed to that going on a Thursday. But yeah, the
Oh yeah,
Accountant
dude.
2, which we kind of like saw as like almost college level, like, oh yeah, can't wait to go see the Accountant 2. Like that was such a good movie in 2016. Can't wait to follow that up. And yeah, sure enough, it's like we thought we were being silly little podcasty boys going to go see the Accountant 2 on opening day. But my Accountant 2 screening on Thursday during, again, like this is our last episode, a Leafs game during the playoffs in Toronto and a Metallica concert. So like the city was electrically sold out everywhere. and so was effectively this theater. Like there was 20 seats, and also the Account 2 got a small screening for my theater. Like it was a smaller theater. It was like a very standard small theater. So I was really surprised that they weren't even like trying to put that near like a I don't know, a bigger theater. You know what I'm saying? Like it's really weird when you get a movie that comes out in standard only and it does really good numbers on an opening weekend. There's no AVX or ScreenX or IMAX because those are all the big movies.
I think they shifted a little bit. Like, so I saw it in AVX. It was playing at AVX in our theater here in Montreal, but it wasn't on the Thursday because, like, again, probably it's the contractual things, like the screen's locked in. So, but yeah, like it was bumping, and it was funny because, and the reason why I really wanted to kind of push this week for the recording was two things kind of happened in our worlds that you would definitely aware of, like Red Letter Media. Unfortunate timing on their part, dropped a video about kind of the death of original movies and box office,
and theaters being the worst of the Minecraft movie.
They did it the video came out the weekend Sinners dropped, and
they even say like, "Oh, we haven't seen Sinners." Who knows?
Yeah,
like,
so it definitely would have been. I hope they revisit it because it definitely would be interesting to hear their thoughts afterwards. But also this week, Netflix, which I hate. I don't have a Netflix subscription. I cancel it. I never want to get it again. Oh yeah,
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah,
wow.
I'm so aggressively anti Netflix. But
no wonder you hate when I keep bringing up Love on the Spectrum and Love Is Blind, the most Netflix properties and data.
That's I mean, get your TV. It's their movie policies particularly that I have a problem with, but. I just want to read a quote from Netflix co-CEO Ted Sarandos. This came out April 24th. We're currently recording on the 27th. So this is, again, coming off just before Sinners is about to set records with its second weekend. Netflix CEO Ted Sarandos claims Netflix is, quote, saving Hollywood, and that the theatrical experience is, quote, an outmoded idea for most people. Quote, what is the consumer trying to tell us? That they'd like to watch movies at home. What a great quote to drop the weekend a 20-year-old movie is re-released in theaters that is easily watchable right now on Disney Plus, and it comes out to the tune of $25-ish million.
Yeah.
I listen, okay. I'm a big proponent of movie re-releases. I love re-releases because it's an opportunity for people to see movies in ways that they maybe didn't get to see before. I've seen Jaws a million times. I finally saw Jaws like 2 years ago at the IMAX screen in Scotiabank, and that was the first time I saw Jaws.
Wow.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, while we're on this big boomer tangent on why the cinema is an important experience, I saw Grease for the first time at a drive-in. And that is comparable to what you're saying. Like if you're going to see Jaws for the first time and it's an IMAX re-release, the impact that has on you and the generational times you'll talk about a classic, huge. And same thing with Grease. To see a movie that is so like drive-in culture oriented at the drive-in. And similarly, I went to the Review Cinema here in Toronto and I saw Jackass in a theater full of people on like a Thursday night last week before the Easter holiday. And it's like, in 2002, I was 7. I was not even allowed to watch Jackass, let alone like going to movie theaters by myself. So to go in with a bunch of my friends and see like the 2002 cast of Jackass get absolutely obliterated with what people call tame stunts, aka like the paper cuts like between the fingers. The whole theater, I think. Oh, so yeah, it probably says so already. I had food poisoning and try not to throw up watching Jackass on a big screen with a bunch of rowdy people. Like, cause I just don't want me to like walk out here and be like, oh, pussy, you know what I mean? So yeah, the re-release model, like you said, it's an awesome like call to action that you could Disney Plus to death any Star Wars thing you want. But to come back out in theaters and to do numbers on a weekend or in a week in a time where Sinners is rightfully dominating, and even movies like The Accountant 2, which is essentially a bit I hate saying it's a $90 million budget, but a bit of a nothing movie, is getting a massive day one push from, like we joked on our last episode, the autists are out. People are wanting to go to these movies that are kind of pure in that sense. And I think we talk about films that are pure and they have intentionality, like The Working Man had no creative intentionality, no good choices. drop was like an uphill battle to make that work from a filmmaking perspective, because it was like a bottle episode that was so by the numbers. Like, we are seeing bad movies fail, and we're seeing good movies reach their audience. And even like a 3 out of 5 Accountant 2 that
Yeah.
we both liked, knowing what it was, it knew what it was. And again, the intentionality comes across. So I think like the opposite of the red letter media thing, good movies are back. Bad movies are seeing kind of their thing. And this is the thing with the economy being the way it is. People are not going to go spend $40. I've been using my scene points for the first time in 3 years this last week, seeing all these movies on like Thursdays and Mondays. I was like, Lord, 2 tickets for a regular screening of The Accountant 2 was $38. And that's the small screen, because again, Sinners and Revenge of the Sith and all that was in the big screen. So it's like, it's crazy. So yeah, it is hugely impactful how you see a movie. And I think people are really aware of that. And like you said, with Jaws and IMAX being your first time, I'm so jealous. I think I watched it on like an ex-girlfriend's 27-inch 720p flat screen in their like college apartment. I was like, oh, this is a good movie.
Oh no, to be clear, that's how I saw it on those old like square TVs back in the day before they were
CRT.
widescreen. It was full screen.
Yeah,
and
the 4x3 instead of the 69.
And that was how I watched it a ton as a kid. But what I mean is that was the first time I saw it, and this is like. I can,
I see you, Jake Sully.
Yeah, literally. It can be dramatic, but like I really like, this is just like a real example. And so Jaws, obviously one of the biggest movies of all time, blockbuster, historic, everybody knows about it. And I knew so much of, like, I've seen it a gajillion times, and I'd seen so many like documentaries and interviews and all this stuff about it. And there was an interview where they were talking about Quint's monologue in that movie, where he's on the boat and he tells the story of the was it the USS Indianapolis that like gets sunk, and then all of these guys are just swimming and getting picked off by sharks one at a time. And I saw an interview where he was they were like, I was like, you see him in the movie, he just is like, his jaws dropped, like he's just slack-jawed looking at Quint deliver this monologue.
Yeah, the 1,000-yard stare.
Yeah, and he's like, dude, that's not me acting. Like, I just got like so enveloped in that monologue that like I just got lost in it. And I finally had that experience at IMAX. I was like, yeah, it's a good monologue, but like I'm not at the same level. And then I caught myself, substance free, by the way, just staring up, and just like literally my mouth was open, and I'm like, oh my God, because this is the difference and what's possible when you're fully immersed in a movie. And I had seen it at home with lights, my phone, people around me talking, cooking, whatever's going on in my house. That was the only way I experienced it, and it's impossible. It's like the theater is meant to act as almost like a sensory deprivation tank for your life. And it's just
100%.
You staring up at this big screen and immersing yourself in that. Nothing else is mattering for like other times. And I know one of the things we definitely wanted to talk about is phones, and we'll get to that. But like I'm telling you guys, if there's something you're interested in or care about, the ideal way to see that is in a theater. It just is. And if for no other reason, is that with better sound, a bigger screen, and that kind of blackout situation, most of the time, assuming you're in a good theater, it allows you to just completely experience something. And that's why, like, again, a movie that I saw a million times, like Jaws, I was chomping at the bit. Like, I was so excited when it got that IMAX re-release. And then this weekend we're recording this, like, I'm not a huge like prequels guy, I don't really care, but I'm so Star Wars out right now, frankly. But $25 million minimum, like that's what it's floating around now in estimates, for a re-release of a 20-year-old movie, because there's people, 20-year gap right now of people that have been born since that movie came out that never got to experience that way, or people that did get to experience it and haven't got to experience that way in 20 years. Like, there is a tangible difference. And that is why Ted Sarandos can eat a dick, because there is something that Netflix in their infinite wisdom will never recreate. And it is that cultural landmark moment. Nothing Netflix has put out in a film form has made a strong cultural impact. They talk about, what is it, Red Notice or whatever, their
Yeah.
friggin' biggest movie of all time. It's
Yeah.
fucking bullshit. I've never heard one person that remembers that movie, that has ever talked about that movie.
Well, no,
It's
you've
where
seen that
all
meme,
of them
right?
go to
Where
die.
Well, you've seen that meme, right? Where it's like Dwayne the Rock Johnson in a khaki tight shirt, sweating in the jungle, and it's 4 different movies. It's like
Yeah.
Jumanji, Red Notice, and Rampage. It's like I'll pull it
Yeah.
up. This will be the clip, but yeah, it is funny that like I feel like I want to call it like the 2017 era where I felt like I was actually getting really involved in streaming, and 2017 you saw a huge dip in box office for the first time in a while before the pandemic
Yeah.
made it infinitely worse. But yeah, I think 2017 was the year they had Skyscraper. Was it like not Battlefield Los Angeles, but it was like a Rescue Los Angeles? It was The Rock during an LA fault line.
Yeah.
A skyscraper collapses and he's a rescue hero basically. But it's like The Rock dominated this 2017 era of being like the muscle man in all these movies. Like this was when he was like on his blow up basically. He was Hercules, the guy from Rampage, Red Notice,
Yeah.
and Jumanji. So it's like you were to put all these movies, screenshots from all of them. It is like, man, this is the same color palette, the same actor, the same setting, and everything got sameified a lot. And I think the streaming model is emblematic of that. It has made everything a lot more samey and safe. And even my job, like I work on streaming shows and content basically. And yeah, we all joke about it where it's just like, you know, hey, don't worry about that light fixture. Nobody cares. This is like a
Yeah.
three-page scene that, you know, it's 2 people talking about, I don't know, getting lost in the woods back when they were kids, and it's just it's 10 minutes of screen time, you know, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like so, yeah, it's to add in and to kind of talk about like what you were saying with the theater experience being so impactful. You're wearing the shirt too, which I love. Right before The Accountant 2 started, I was sitting in my theater. I got there a little early. There was like 25 people in a small theater, so it was actually feeling like pretty full, and I could tell everybody there was like interested in the movie. Like we talked about, like the Autism Road, everybody was there. They're wearing their outfits. They were like excited to be there. It's a good mix of people. Like it was a good, healthy audience. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sitting there in the movie, and I have my popcorn, and I smell freshly buttered popcorn. The movie is like you said, it's a sensory deprivation tank. And I had this really surreal, like loner moment where I was like, this is the vibe of sitting in the Alamo Draft House right before Anora started.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm there with you and Adriana and Renata. And we were like just kind of like zen and in our moment. And, you know, we were taking how nice the Alamo Draft House is, how they put all this effort into like the hallways and the decorations. And they made the Shining theme like carpet. And like, it was just so nice that there are theaters like the Alamo Draft House in the States that puts all that effort in, and it's appreciated, and they don't put up with like bullshit in screenings. And I kind of had that like the most film hipster thing I've ever said, but like my happy place I think has been a movie theater at many points in my life. And sitting there before The Accountant 2, I was like, I'm here, I've made it. And this is where I like to pivot. My friend Boren shows up with like, I don't know what I meant to ask him. I swear to God, he got like a chicken parm or something, and the smell absolutely ruined that Zen moment. I was like, who lets you order? What I don't. It was like I thought it smelled like pizza. Then it smelled like chicken fries. And then it smelled like gravy. And then it smelled like the popcorn came back in. And I kept looking at him in the dark. And he wasn't an obnoxious eater or anything. It was just the smell from like the front row as he came up assaulted my nostrils. And I was like, my Zen popcorn blackout curtain theater experience that I was like really at peace at, totally annihilated. And yeah, food in movie theaters is kind of funny. I'm glad, you know, theaters are getting that bag, so to speak. They're, you know, selling their Starbucks coffees at like 100% markup. But yeah, I'm a bit of a purist. It's like popcorn or bust. Even though I love a glizzy, you had to like twist my rubber arm to be like, no, trust me, the Cineplex Club glizzy price is like $5, and they're pretty meaty, like quarter-pound wiener. Pause. Pause. But yeah, I gotta say, yeah, I think the theater and the escapism that it provides to let you unplug from, you know, your dog on your couch, or you know, the cooking in the kitchen, the room next door. You know, when you're in college and you're broke and you're going to the Tuesday movie for the cheap night, it does get you out of your like college room rental. Like it gets you out of your space, out of your head, out of your life. And definitely found growing up with my dad, it was like our Toonie Tuesday KFC trip,
Hmm.
where we'd sneak it into the Owen Sound Cineplex, and we would watch whatever movie. And then even though we had so much going on, like not to be this guy, but like between my parents' divorce and high school and all like the melodrama that comes with growing up,
Hmm.
to go to a theater on a Tuesday and sneak in KFC that used to be like $2.99 for two piece, and now it's like $6 thanks
Yeah.
inflation. It was this perfect ritual of escapism. And when you talk about the Netflix thing, it's like, yeah, eat it, man. Like I do think that there has to be a cinema option. Like even if we
Yeah.
live in a dystopia in 30 years, I hope there's like a two screen theater for people like us, hopefully, that exist, that are like, actually, I have to see this at the two screen 30-person seating. I think about like storefronts being so obsolete now, like brick and mortar. They should
Yeah.
just start turning individual storefronts into one screener movie theaters for like 30 people.
Well,
Uh,
that's a thing. Like, there's I think it's Cinema Moderne here in Montreal. That's where I saw Late Night with the Devil. I
yeah.
think 3 rows of seats, and there's like 10 people or whatever
Oh, that's
per
good.
row. Like, it was super small. They had a little bar out front. But like, yeah, like I was saying, like, this was supposed to be my weekend off, and like I've had my dad visit, you visited, my mom visited. I've been hosting a lot of people here and just
Yeah.
constantly doing stuff. So I was like, oh, finally I have a weekend off. And then I ended up booking a double feature on the Saturday for the podcast, and
And
then
then I'm like, let's record, let's
I,
go.
I'm one. I'm going to a hockey game tonight, but like I remember being like, "Oh, my weekend off is gone." And the moment I sat in shrouds, and again, it was like quiet, just like it was a good. The people going to see a David Cronenberg movie on opening weekend or
Yeah, they
quiet.
dialed in.
There was. I didn't hear anything. There was not a phone in sight. But like literally, just as the production credits opened for the movie, like it was honestly like a euphoric high I was experiencing, and like not intentionally. Like I was like there, I'm not even like super thrilled for this movie. I was just like interested, and again, just it faded away, and I could feel myself not being drained but charging, and it was
Yeah.
like, oh, like it is such a crucial thing to me. Like obviously I go so much, and I know you do too, and it's like it's such a big thing. And I think like I agree like too on that like purity of the experience. My problem is like more people need to push back, and like this is why I hate Netflix so much, is that they view theaters as competition, because in a way I guess they are, but that's why they gimp their releases. They don't let them stay long in theaters.
Like Glass Onion's a perfect
Yeah, it was
example.
out for a week and it was gone, and it could have made a ton of money. It could have,
Yeah.
like, the first one made a ton of money in theaters,
Yeah,
and this one's
I
gonna
saw that
make a
movie
ton of money.
twice
Yeah,
before COVID. I saw that and like The Invisible Man. I was like, movies are so back.
yeah,
COVID happens, and the only thing I see in theaters is Brandon Cronenberg's Possessor. So oh no, and New Mutants. So
yeah.
Glass Onion
Reshoot Magnet.
and The Invisible Man right before COVID. I'm like, movies are back. COVID happens. The first theater experience I have, masked up, double vax, etc., 19 seats apart. I'm in there, and I'm
Yeah,
like, finally, movies are back. And I see The New Mutants, and I was like, what a pile of dog shit. And
yeah,
then theaters get canceled again, and
yeah,
then they come back again. And then I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see The Matrix 4, pile of dog shit. Then I'm like, can't wait to see Possessor. It was like I had 3 back-to-back dead movie vibes over COVID, where it's like you go in. I think we went New Year's Day to see The Matrix, and it was like, you can't get popcorn. We've outlawed concessions now to save you from COVID. And I'm like, cool thing. And I was actually like an asshole to this employee. I was like straight up like, look, that makes it. That's like, that was my crash
yeah.
out. When everyone in it was like
It
kicking the hill to die
tarnished
on.
your experience, and you're like, "This is I
Yeah.
can't take this anymore."
I'm like, bro, it's New Year's Day. You're ruining 2023 for me, dude. Like I was freaking out. But yeah, I'm thrilled. Movies are back. But God, yeah. Oh, sorry, I derailed that so bad.
No, no, no. It was like, but like in that same vein of like I got to see Judas and the Black Messiah in that COVID era of theaters by myself. It was a private screening. An amazing time. I love that movie to this day, and it was literally me by myself at the Owen Sound, Galaxy Theater. And I think like the thing is like, and it's hard to say good, because like good movies come out and they get overlooked for this reason or that reason, or they're mismarketed or whatever. There's a million reasons why good movies don't come out, or they come out and they don't get a good run. Like, you know, there, we could talk about theater exclusivity in terms of like, there used to be like 3 months, 90 days between when a movie was out of theaters and was able to be available on DVD or anything like that. And they're shrinking that window, and it makes movies kind of less important to go see that way. And without people like kind of recognizing that experience, and like, because again, like if Marvel, for example, if all of those movies came out on Disney Plus, the cultural impact of that is non-existent.
Yeah.
Like so much. Like, and again, like this is what I say to people like that go only to those movies. Not every movie is going to be like that, and they're not like that. But I just mean in terms of the feeling, you don't get that at home. Go to the opening weekend of No Way Home, Spider-Man and No Way Home, where all the Spider-Men come back. Watch that at the opening crowd, and then watch it at home. That was my red pill moment. I was like, I saw it on opening weekend with a bunch of my buddies that were super excited for it, and I had a great time. And then I watched it like a few months later at home or whatever, and I wanted to shoot myself. It was terrible.
You felt that Marvel applause gap that you heard
yes.
of, right? Where it's like Andrew Garfield shows up and it's like, zoinks, I'm here now. And then there's like
5-10 seconds of just silence because you're supposed to be like, oh, but like, but not even like those are clearly built for that. But I just mean like the feeling is gone, and it's because they're not the same thing. Like, again, like that's the one thing I'll give like the MCU is that like there's like the reason if you are into those movies, you need to see them on that opening weekend with that crowd. That is just the best way to experience those movies. And like it's such a good thing, like because this has been we're 2025 now, and in the road to recovery. Like COVID obviously decimated so many theaters, a lot of small independent ones that aren't able to stay afloat. Like just here in Quebec, we had a whole the Guzzo chain of theaters is bankrupt. They're done now. It's over. They're selling. You can buy their seats now on Facebook Marketplace. Like, it is a grim outlook right now. But then quality original movies, like my mom, okay, I love my mom to death. Her taste in movies is usually dog shit, okay? I'll show her something I love and she'll be like, that was stupid, and she hates when I do that bit. But she saw Sinners last night, and by no means did I think this was a slam dunk movie for my mom. It is weird. It's unique. There's musical-ish elements to it. Like, it is not just a standard movie, I would say. And she liked it. And I'm like, oh my God, like something like that can cut through to like everybody. And the appeal of it is obviously huge. Like, it is holding almost exactly what it did opening weekend. Word of mouth is tremendously strong on this movie. And it's like so desperate. Like, it's just crazy because this weekend has knocked off so many, like, you have the best performing thing is a wildly successful, original, non-sequel to anything movie. You're getting a giant box office return. And by the way, those numbers I said were all domestic. So that's just North American. I have no idea how it's Revenge of the Sith is doing overseas. That's just 30 million in US and Canada. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's on a re-release of a 20-year-old movie. You have another 20 million on Minecraft, a kids movie or whatever, and there's a whole thing about phones, and that'll be our transition into
cultural
that.
Phenomenon.
Right, and then 25 million for The Accountant 2, which is a sequel, but again, if you listen to our episode last week, there's a little bit more to that. It's not just a sequel for money's sake and just to get more bit. Like, you can feel a little bit of an enjoyment in that movie that a lot of these other slot Netflix crap has. And I really hope this is a good turning point for filmmakers and people that are making these deals. Demand theatrical runs, demand exclusive windows. Like, you guys have the power. If you refuse to make anything with Netflix, then they become the more obvious. They just make more reality TV because no filmmaker's willing to work with them. Like, the fact that there's rumors right now that the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood like sequel is going to be on Netflix makes me want to fucking kill myself. I can't believe, and especially get David Fincher. And it's going to get maybe a 3-day run.
Yeah.
Like I'll be able to go because I live in Montreal, a big area for movies. So like it will come here, hopefully, because they'll have to do the minimum amount to get it in for awards. But like it's devastating to me because I think about like how fun that first experience was at that
Oh
movie
yeah.
with friends and with people. And it's like, man, like Netflix, eat shit. Ted Sarandos, eat shit. We're coming up high on theaters right now, and I fucking love that. And again, let's pivot slightly because I want to
Well,
come to you
you know
on
it's
this
bad
too.
when it's bad when our boy, not really, like David Zaslav, Warner Bros, who's been essentially the boogeyman of chopping movies for tax write-offs. Warner Brothers is the one that put out Sinners, right? So they had like a 1 year turnaround. Like that was a quickly pumped out movie, and it is good. It is just nice. Again, like the reward goes to a well made thing, and
Yeah.
it's rare. That's like the underdog story. It's like, oh,
Mhm.
a good thing got made by good people, and it's doing well, even though there was a very high chance, or like a higher chance than maybe normal, that it could have been shelved or tax written off, or whatever, because
Yeah.
that's happened to other movies from Warner Bros. Christopher Nolan leaving Warner Bros.
Yeah.
You know what I
With
mean? Like Warner
Universal
Bros.
now.
has essentially been a little bit more the boogeyman when you talk about like these
Well, and
corporate
like
people.
I hope that's a lesson to him because like
Yeah,
Zaslav has been the enemy for good reason.
yeah.
But
Gotta
like
let people cook.
and again, I say this not to get too inside baseball, but there's infighting within Warner Brothers about the people that were trying to make actual movies and who's greenlighting what and all of this.
Yeah.
Like, hopefully, this is a big wake up call lesson for them that like there is an atmosphere and there's an appetite. Like they keep saying, like, people just don't care to go. That's true if your shit sucks and is generic. But like
Yeah.
the fact that Oppenheimer made almost $1 billion is
Yeah.
crazy. Like again,
Yeah.
Barbie being a success, I'm grateful for. It was good. It was way better than I thought it would be when the
Yeah.
concept was announced. But it making a ton of money is not all that surprising relative to Oppenheimer, and that's because you have to give people a reason to go, and they
I don't think
will
we've
go.
ever. I don't think we've ever talked about Barbenheimer on the podcast because that was, like so last summer or whatever, 2 summers almost.
Yeah,
And yeah, I think you talk about treating movies. When people joke about like, oh, I remember you used to dress up when you flew in a plane. You know what I mean? I've been having this vibe where on Sinners, like there's this like kid that looked like a My Chemical Romance music video, and people are like, nice outfit. He's like, thanks. It's kind of an event to come out on a 70 millimeter night and see an opening night at
yeah.
Sinners. And I had like, what a wholesome experience. But yeah, Barbenheimer was probably the last time where I had that similar moment where it's like,
We
self
dressed
included,
up. Yeah,
people wore pink, they showed up, and you could tell when you saw like five dudes wearing their only pink shirt walking into a theater, or like a group of girls dressed like Barbie cowgirls. And it was kind of awesome. And like, yeah, the memes where it's like, you and your homies kind of dressed up to go see the Minecraft movie, or like showing up to Oppenheimer, yeah, it's cool that going to movies can be an experience, and the culture and the zeitgeist of like the enjoyment is a huge part of it,
and when have
so you
you
talk about like
dressed up
expectations.
last to watch a Netflix movie? By the way, just curious. Oh,
Yeah,
never. Yeah. Oh,
uh,
obviously.
I wear my PJs, okay, dude. That's dressing up.
Yeah.
It's called depression. Look it up. No, the funny thing is, like, even Nosferatu, I saw that New Year's Day hungover as like I was Orlok. Like I rose out of my hangover. I wore my one bone like dressier sweatpants. Basically, I wore I had this little Halloween jewelry of like it's like a silver chain with like a little snake on it. I wore that with like my most tattered looking Kanye West tank top and a fuzzy cardigan. And I'm like, I'm really dressing for this movie today with like my shades on a cloudy day, hungover. And I was like, that was the last time I dressed up for a movie probably, but I wasn't really, anyways. Yeah. No, exactly. I think it's awesome that people come out in force and people support things and like make it a meme. And even like with all the flack the Minecraft movie's getting for the chicken jockey experience, I think all these pro theater people who exist online, all of us terminally online nerds, are like, good, yeah, ruin the theater, throw your thing. As long as everyone's paying $22 a pop or whatever, I'm glad theaters are surviving on this awful experience.
I have a bit of a differentiator on this. I think
Yeah,
like that is a bit of a different thing. I think like again, to me, this is the only reason that exists as it is because of the phones in there. People would not be
yeah,
freaking out like that if their phones were all in those like
like
bags when you
yeah,
go
the
to a
comedy
comedy show.
club,
Yeah, and they put your bag.
yeah,
Like no one's doing that. And again, like again, I'm glad theaters get money. Like I feel the same way when like these big kind of tentpole movies and stuff come out and do well. Like I'm always torn because I'm like I hate them as a concept, but I like the theaters need to make money, and that's what people turn out for because that's what's getting made. But like even at that point, like I know the thing with phones, and like we have our whole article on theater etiquette and everything, and like we reached out to Cineplex at Wicked. Like they don't like that because that's a huge amount of work for them to clean up. It became like crazy absurd. Like sure they're getting more money, but like it's causing headaches and problems. Like it was delaying shows and stuff because they had to do like such extensive cleans
A
and
deep clean
so then they've
between
had to
the
cancel showings. There was a couple examples of that. So
yeah.
like it's not like be all end all there, but like I wanted to talk a little bit about phones because you talked about an example where you were waiting for like an important update of a phone call, and
Yeah.
it finally came while you were in a theater and you missed it. So
So yeah, I think that's a perfect segue because earlier we were talking about how the movie theater becomes like a bit of a religious experience where you're going to disconnect from the outside world, and when you go in there, if you're raised well, you go in with the expectation you're not going to be bothered, you're not going to take away from the movie, you're going to go in, you're going to say a captive audience and enjoy it. Um, and I give a lot of grace to people in theaters that whip out their phone impulsively, and I don't think I'm like I think if I say this, and I'm sorry to poison the people who listen to me. Um, every time you see somebody pull out a phone in a movie theater, it's either to check the time, put it away very quickly, which is nice and rare, and I'll let that slide. Even if they do it every 10 damn minutes.
I won't let that slide. I'll let it slide once.
But what I've noticed, if anything, it's emblematic of like, oh, is the movie dragging because that guy's checked his like screen like
Yeah.
this a few times. I have the smartwatch, so I'm like way more casual about it, and I put it back under my sleeve. But the point of this is I've noticed all the time people in theaters, they're not necessarily doom scrolling. Like there are people, and I'll get into a funny story where I whipped popcorn in the back of this girl's head this week, and it was so rewarding to watch her hair curl up as the popcorn kernel got tangled in it. You'll notice there's all these people that they check their missed calls and their texts, and like I'll see the guy dead in front of me, 0 missed calls, goes through 6, 0 texts, opens Facebook, no new notifications. Then he's like, okay, now I'm doomed, and he puts his phone away.
Yeah.
And then he'll do that maybe 3 times in an hour and a half movie.
Yeah. Like what do you?
And all I can think is like, is your life, is something happening in your life? Because for me, my girlfriend and I, when we moved in together, this was like our dream apartment. This is just my like streamer basement room here, but we have this really lovely apartment in the really nice neighborhood, the Junction in Toronto. It's in like a little cute old storefront. Long story long, but we were like really diehard trying to get this place, and the old European landlord was like, "I'll let you know tomorrow." 2 days goes by, we don't hear anything, and we're like, "Let's get out of our heads. Let's go see a movie in theaters." And we chose Beetlejuice 2. And we go to Beetlejuice, and I said, walking in the theater at 9 p.m., I'm like, I bet we get a phone call in the middle of this movie, because that's the Murphy's Law of my life, at least, is like I'm going to my sacred place to put my phone away and not wait hand in knee to see if I get the apartment or get the job or get the call back. And sure enough, yeah, it was like right when they go to the afterlife in Beetlejuice 2, and they take Jenna Ortega there, is like my phone starts going off, and I looked at my girlfriend and I was like, and I ran out, and yeah, sure enough, we got the place. But I give people a lot of leeway because it's like life is complicated. It's hard to disconnect from your phone. And I do respect it way more than I think Shea does. But at a certain point, I'm like, you have no friends. You're a bitchless loser. Stop checking your missed calls. You're not getting laid tonight. You are not that funny. My biggest pet peeve in this exact conversation is people who like doom scroll. And I swear to God, I was watching the movie Babylon in theaters, and I saw that on a Wednesday while I was unemployed like 2.5 years ago. And everybody in the theater was pretty dialed in except for this one lady who would go check her Instagram story and keep refreshing it to see who's looking at her story of her like toddler while she's in the theater. And the movie is basically about how movies are bigger than us. They're supposed to live on. They're supposed to be bigger than us. And entertainment's evolving, and no one person can be the industry, And I think that's an awesome little insider baseball Hollywood thing. But if you watch, spoiler alert for Babylon, Brad Pitt's character kills himself because he's no longer the starlet, the Hollywood guy that he thought he was. He's, his arrow's gone. He's no longer top shit. And it's like mom and child, like they leave the theater, and then the kid's like, "Mom, why did Brad Pitt kill himself?" And then mom goes, "Shit, I don't know. He just wasn't it no mo." And I was like, you missed the whole point. You missed and it was because they were scrolling, and I had this whole thing. So yeah, my theater experience this week, a lady was at first I'm like, okay, maybe she's sending an important text. I'm not gonna like flip out. But then after a while, I realized she was now on TikTok looking at slow cooker recipes. And at first, like, well, maybe she's sending a recipe. It's time sensitive. I'll relax. And then when I realized how to do a 6-hour slow cooker roast on TikTok in the middle of The Accountant 2 on opening night, I grabbed this popcorn kernel. I like pointed at my friend. I like whipped it and it hit her right in the back of the head. She looked behind and I like locked eyes with her. And then she like played it off and kept looking around and then put her phone away. And I'm like, that was my like vigilante win. But people can be a little egregious.
Well, and this is my thing. Like, I had an experience once. I'm pretty sure I went to see friggin' Batman versus Superman, which I
Yeah.
hated too. But I came out and I had a like ton of missed calls, missed texts, and it wasn't like like a life emergency, but it was like something important happened that on a project I was working on at the time. And so, like, I'm like, oh shit, and I didn't notice until it came out. So then I called and was playing catch up and everything. But then, like, what I did is I instituted, like, basically, I have just settings on my phone, so I'll put it in my pocket, and I only have it so calls will vibrate. And if people are texting me, it's not important. And I told like anyone that knows me or is close to me, if you call me 2 times in a row, I will walk out of the theater and I will call you back. Like, I'm assuming that's an emergency if you're calling me. So if I feel the vibrations go off twice or, 2 calls come in, then I go, okay, something, I need to step out. So, and maybe that's like a freak plan just because I go so much that it's reasonable that there is a chance that I could be in the theater when something happens. But yeah, like there's no excuse to be that glued, and if there is, there's workarounds like that you can do
Yeah.
to avoid, because again, like I'm sympathetic to people, like whatever the thing is, something's going on, whatever, but you gotta respect the people around you, and it drives me bonkers. Like there's some older woman watching The Accountant 2, for anyone that's not on the visual side of things. She was watching she had cheaters on her top of her head, and I see her bust out her phone, max brightness, slide the cheaters down so she can start scrolling. And I felt the same way. I didn't have anything to throw. I'm like, if I didn't eat that last fucking M&M, it would have beeline right, because I could have got her too. She was far enough away that I couldn't say anything, but I could have got her with that M&M. But
Yeah.
like, luckily she like put it away and didn't last long. But like, yeah, just be courteous around people and commit to that. And if you are unwilling to do that, don't fucking go, for sure. And I really want, like, I know you say you got to see these Tommy Texas. They told me they were coming. I have yet to experience any PSA here
The
in
Susie
Montreal.
scroller,
At
the
any of the
Sally social
Cineplex. Yeah.
media. Yeah.
And like again, shout out to like places like the Review, Cinema du Parc, Cinema Moderne here. Like I love these places. They are where I try to go to see as many movies as I can. But like all in all, I just want to say like this has been a big week for us in terms of this. We love this. We love this business. We love movies, and this is we love the theatrical experience, and this has been a big week for all of that. And I just wanted to talk about that a little bit and really kind of highlight that this is like something important. And if you're one of these people that listen but you don't go to the theaters often, like again, there can be things that derail it. There's a lot of reasons. Trust me, I've written the articles on Cineplex. There's a lot of reasons to be mad, costs, and all of this stuff. But even if you just get a ticket, smuggle in your own snacks, go on a cheap Tuesday, like again, and be the police, like I find I've never been in an ongoing confrontation in a theater when people generally know that they shouldn't be doing it. So when you speak up, they will, usually go away,
Which
and
is
it's
kind
not
of
a
funny
problem.
because this is like it's funny, same theater where I had to call for Beetlejuice. I also had a call that was like, there's carbon monoxide poisoning at work. We need to check in if you're okay. And I'm like, oh, no wonder I really liked the Suicide Squad that day. I missed the phone call. But same theater, I went to go see Bad Boys 4, the newest Bad Boys that came out last year. I regretted it so much. It was the most. Anyways, I went to go see Bad Boys 4 with my roommate. When we lived together in that part of town, we walked over. And yeah, there's a guy like 4 or 5 rows in front of me. And the entire time, his phone was just out full brightness. And he's just out. So eventually, like car chase, and he like looks up at the screen with his phone blasting everybody behind us. And if he wasn't so far away, like, like he's 5, 6, 7 rows ahead of me, if he was even 2 rows, I could have been like, hey, you know, like, but I wasn't gonna get up in a theater. I saw a fist fight in the movie Carrie, you know, when they remade Carrie in
Yeah.
2011. Fist fight broke out. I swear to God, we all got a free refund. I snuck into it, and so I got a free movie ticket to refund me for the movie I stole. So yeah, I was getting really heated. You know, I was trying to think like, how do I had nothing to throw. Like, yeah, the movie comes out, and I follow this guy into the lobby, and I go, and I was actually really worked up. Like, it kind of ruined the experience for me. And I turned to the guy and said, hey, man, why don't you put your phone away next time? I'm just warning you because other people would have really flipped out at you. That was really brutal that you had online poker out on your phone in the middle row, middle of the theater. And he's like, oh, I wish you said something. I'm like, I shouldn't have to. Like, it's kind of the general rules. You put your phone away. He's like, oh, I do it all the time. Nobody says anything. And so it's like I went in thinking like I'm gonna beat this guy's face in.
Well, this is why PSAs are needed. I had the exact same experience for you.
Yeah, he's giving me like ammo almost to like escalate this to be like, you fucking idiot, you know. But in the end, it was like, oh well, thanks for telling me. I'll be more courteous next time. I left that altercation with a heart rate on my Apple Watch had like 120, and I was like, I'm such a virgin nerd here, being like, God, the guy really bothered me. But yeah, it was I felt like a coward not saying it. In the end, he was so polite, like, oh, sorry, I wish you said something. It's like, don't try to buddy guy me here. Don't be like, oh, sorry there, buddy. I wish you said, like, don't put it on me, dude. You're the guy playing online poker, and his girlfriend didn't say shit either. And I was just like, I'd be embarrassed to take a dweeb out like that.
Well,
like,
ultimately it is on them, but again, this is where I give the theater shit. Like there's a whole generation of people now that have grown up on Marvel movies where you bring costumes and light up shit and you yell and scream through the movie. Like that's just what they think movies are. And so yeah, a phone light in that setting is not as distracting, you know, as it is in a normal movie. But this is why to me the PSA is like theaters need to kind of maintain this idea that you shouldn't be doing this. Like if you, between when they retired Tommy Texter in like 2012 or whenever they went away to now when they brought them back in some theaters, you never saw a PSA if you went to a Cineplex theater. There was a decade probably where I went where there was no PSAs about that. So that's a whole, you know, 10 years for people that have gone that never get told that. So it's not surprising because I had a same thing. It was in a like pretty much a sold out IMAX and this guy was like in the next section above. So like in front. So like I could not reasonably do anything. I've gotten out. Like I've gotten up in the middle of a movie and yelled at people.
Walked all the way around. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but like I'm not gonna run down and literally interrupt 40 people, right?
Yeah,
like to get
be
around.
like, hey, put your phone away.
Yeah. So like I didn't.
It's a mark of shame at that point.
But I literally, as soon as the credits hit, I got up, walked through, and went down and told that guy, I'm like, put your fucking phone away, brother. Everyone, and I like literally gestured. I'm like, all of these people behind you could see you play that fucking Ninja Fruit game or whatever. For like 15 minutes at a time. Like, and I could tell he just never had been told, like, that's not a thing you do. And so, like, that's why that shit's so important. And like I said, you know, create the environment you want to be in to an extent. And like, again, I know that's hard. There's circumstances.
Be the change you want to see.
It is. But it's like, if they're not going to do it, like, you have to. And so, like, again, you don't have to be a fucking dick. Like, I'm always very polite at the beginning. Like, hey, do you guys mind? You know, your light's distracting, your talking's too much. And then sometimes I've had to say 2 or 3 times and I get decidedly less nice every time. But, and again, I'm like a weird example. I'm 6'2", I'm a big boy. So maybe I'm getting away with stuff. But again, it's just a general thing. Like people are not going to be constant douchebags like that if you just say something. And like for me, it's always worth it. Just say it, get it done, and then you'll have a better experience. And ultimately, that's what we want. We want this to be a viable option. I feel like there's so much more we could say.
You know what? And even I add on to this too is like, I think if you're paying to go see the movie and you want to be on your phone, that's an awful statement. But just pick the back corner, pick an aisle. Don't be middle when there are people who want to enjoy the movie and you are like, well, I'm expecting a phone call, and I know we want to wrap up here, but saw Until Dawn and like. I wasn't in love with it. It was getting really late. It was a Thursday. I ended up just being like, well, there's a good second feature to count to, but I was like, it's not worth talking about. And I left, but the lady in front of me for like, I'd say 30 minutes of the hour I was in the theater, had like realtor.ca out looking at condos. And to cap that off, it was all like Mandarin on her phone. And I was like, you know, you talk about there's a generation of people, as like in Canada, there's a lot of like new immigrants who also maybe haven't been given that speech. And I joke like Markham and Scarborough, you'll be in a Home Depot and the aisles will be in Mandarin now. Like there's parking signs at a McDonald's in Markham on Highway 7 that has like a no parking, no idling sign. It's all in Mandarin. And you're like,
Okay.
if I ever got a ticket, could I? Anyways, the point of this being is yeah, like there's a generation of like Gen Alpha and like late Gen Zs going to theaters that necessarily didn't have that. Even when I told you about that guy who was playing like online poker, full brightness, just watching the movie, phone in hand, that guy was like 35, and I was like, brother, we're in the same demographic. Like I thought you had more respect for people, like you know. So yeah, it's a weird thing, and like, you know, I don't want to sound like the movie Nazis or whatever, but the Alamo Drafthouse again, I remember that was like a thing that really impressed us. I even got scared, like, oh, I might not be a good theater goer. I do lean in and go like, that's the guy, to my friends once in a while. But yeah, we did. That was like a thing there. It's like they had like a very low tolerance for people fucking around, and it is kind of nice. And we talk about how there should be like a tiered experience where they maybe do like an IMAX AVX or whatever for the normies, as the accountant would say. And then yeah, maybe have like the standard screening be like phone and bag situation, or I don't know, like not to be crazy.
Did like,
but
yeah, we talked about that in my thing with the article we did about Wicked. Like have specific screenings set aside for sing-alongs and the distraction
have plastic
and all
seats that
that
are easy to clean up for when they soil themselves and spill popcorn.
Just put like plastic sheeting on them. But like even things like concert movies, like it's a different etiquette. I totally understand that. I'm not saying everything has to always be this way, but there should be a standard, and then there should be the deviations that are very specific and clear. And I don't like, I have no problem with that. Like set aside specific screenings as sing-along screenings or whatever. Like I don't care. That's totally like, I would prefer that, and then enforce the fucking rules in the theaters where that's not supposed to be what's happening. And I think like eventually, like we're seeing a pendulum swing, obviously, wildly the other way. Like I do hope we kind of end up a little bit more in that middle ground, because that's a totally reasonable thing for me. Like I don't see why that's a problem, or why that would be hard to implement. And there's a way to make this really work for everybody. Like, you know, set those expectations, and that's okay. Like there's a world where the Minecraft crap that's going on that, like, yes, I hate, is still viable. Like do afternoon shows and make them like that. Anything goes. Like obviously that's not what they're going to call it, but like chaos screenings or some shit. But like have that where, you know, like there's an expectation that people will, you know,
it would be a screening
friendly or whatever. Like I don't care, but
it would be the AGS screening, anything goes screening. You know,
exactly.
Like, oh, the IMAX AVS AGS, the anything goes screening. Oh, nice.
Set them aside. Like I don't care. I would, if anything, dude, I'm charge a premium on those screenings too. Fuck
cleanup fees. Set like Uber, like Airbnb. You got your $7.
Totally okay with like creative situations around this, but just create the separation. It's not fucking hard. So just create the separation and create an environment that, like, again, is still like interesting to fucking the people that like to record that shit. And like, you know, we live in a different era. I recognize that, but there's a way to maintain both without sacrificing all of them or none of them or some of them, right? Like it just maintain it. It's not that hard to create an environment people want to go at. But I mean, yeah, it's exciting stuff. I'm curious, like if you're listening, like what are the reasons you guys go to the movies? Is it a similar experience? Like, do you just do it because it's kind of habitual? Like, what is the reasons you guys go, and what kind of motivates you to go out and see something? I would definitely love to know your guys' thoughts on that in the comments, or, you know, just read out to us. We'll do a poll or something on Instagram too, and get that feedback, because I'd love to know. But I don't know if you have any closing thoughts on this one, but big weekend for theaters, and I'm excited about that.
Theaters are back, and good movies are back, and the word of mouth on Sinners is so well deserved. I think last week I joked about you know, Hollywood's been kind of shit for a while. Like there's been just like content and garbage, as we talked about for this episode. But I tried to get my like Owen Sound small country friends to go see Sinners. They're like, oh, the black people getting eaten by white vampires? No thanks, liberal. I'm not. And they were very dismissive of Sinners. And now week 2, they're like, Oh, dude, I heard it's really good. Like, Shane Gillis was on a podcast and he
Yeah.
made that joke, like, oh, the white vampires in the black folk and Jim Crow era, and they're like, but no, seriously, it's really good.
Yeah.
This is a joke, like this is a bit, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that it's getting its day, and I'm glad, like you said, the pendulum swing. I think people have developed a palate for garbage,
Yeah.
and they know what is garbage. I think this podcast started on a drunken phone call about Alien Romulus, where I said, this is the good schlop that they're pumping out, and you're like, this is schlop, Brandon. And I'm like, no. If you polish the turret, it'll shine bright too, you know. So I think we're all kind of hitting that stride now, where we all realize good is good, and we have to be more selective, and we should vote with our wallets. I know that's like a very common sentence, but yeah, I'm glad Cinema's doing well. I'm glad the re-release of Star Wars this week is doing gangbusters. I'm glad The Accountant 2, which gets like whatever leftover theaters are available, is also making like a pretty high $9 million opening day, not weekend, day. Like we talk a lot about the Companion, and Companion was like a $10 million budget, and it got to 19 million just scraped by. That's basically doubling. You want to double your budget to make your money back. And it was a good movie, but it wasn't doing great. And now here we are, where it's like The Accountant 2. It has to make over $100 million to even get close. But yeah, 9 million. It made that whole budget from the Companion or whatever in one day. So it's good that the metrics, especially like we said, it's ironic that the titans of this space, Red Letter Media had that video about like independent movies and non-IP are dying and da-da-da-da-da. It's nice that it aged like milk this one time, and I'm glad that we are now in this little buffer zone, because I'm sure it'll get worse. But then I say that and I think big year for movies ahead. Like, we still have our big May release of the movie that I know you're looking forward to the most, Final Destination. We're going to go see a big Mission Impossible screening and another in-person podcast. But yeah, it's like, I think there's good movies ahead this year, and I don't think this is just like a one-off, flash of the pan. So,
well, this will
really
be
thrilled.
a moment, and what that moment will signify, whether it's the start of a good trend or the end of a trend, like
the end of days.
We won't know, the final blip sort of thing. We won't know, but like, I hope obviously it goes in a positive way. And again, like, the fact that in the wave of all of this, like, the biggest success is an original, good, an inventive kind of movie. Like I said, like, I love Top Gun, but Top Gun is, like, to me, like, the best execution of a formulaic kind of blockbuster poppy cinema thing. And Sinners is so much, like, there's more layers to that. It's more like, there's just different things going on. Like, it is such a unique kind of movie, and it's so exciting to see that get that kind of success. And I think, like, yes, I'm obviously very hopeful that this is the a kind of turning point in a trend of positivity. But once again, appreciate everybody listening, appreciate Brandon sitting down to talk. I think by the time you hear this, Adriana should be back from her long trip. We'll have her kind of brief everybody on what she was up to on the next episode. But
we'll have her single-handedly review the Thunderbolts, which essentially comes out the weekend before.
Herself, and she can go see
this
that.
episode's coming out the weekend after the Thunderbolts release, and we're not even going to talk about it. I think we're all going to. I'm going to see it, and I'm not going to talk about it once. I don't think.
If you really make a case, I'll think about it. But until then, guys, please like and rate the episode, follow and subscribe to us wherever you're listening. Thanks so much as always. And if you have a funny little quip to say in the middle of a movie, please don't yell it loudly.